Hey friends, Jill here, and welcome to Whispering Willow Farm. Oh, that sounded so strange. Oh my gosh. That probably sounded as strange for you guys to hear it as it did for me to say it. But I am in my new raised bed garden, and man, I have so much joy in my heart this morning. I literally can see the sun rising behind the house, peeking through the trees. I have my warm cup of coffee, the birds are singing this morning, and I just have so much gratitude. Nathan and I, we got our pod delivered. It was delayed, the truck broke down, so that was kind of a crazy mishap. But last night, we stayed here for the first time. And I looked at Nathan and I was putting things up. I guess let me backtrack. So I was putting things up in the house and I was texting Jessica and I was like, naturally, I want to put all my things where you had your things because I've been coming to this house for years. And, you know, she was like, it's going to take a while. And even if you do change things out of habit, you'll probably still go back to where you knew I had them, you know. But she just encouraged me that I was going to make this farm my home and really just like put our vision and our hope and our dreams into it. And that really encouraged me. And I looked at Nathan and I said, does it feel like home? And he goes, actually, yeah. And it does. It feels like home. I can't wait to just get my hands dirty. We walked the property last night and just started casting visions and dreams for the future. And it felt so good. I'm so thankful for what my last farm did. You know, I mentioned to you guys it was a starter farm for me. It's what built my dreams. But now I'm coming here and I just see all the bigger dreams and the possibilities. And I was walking it and I was like, Nathan, we have a legit farm. Like, we can have animals. We can do this and we can do that. And he's like, hold up, hold up. And it just like, this is literally the desires of my heart. And man, it feels good. So much like everyone's summer gardens in August, especially the South, it's humid. Things are dying off. This is a time that we need to be ripping up the summer gardens. Even though some things are still in bloom, as you guys saw, there's still some flowers that are beautiful that I may end up leaving until the frost kills them. And there are abundant cucamelons behind me on this trellis, but for the most part, tomatoes are dying, sunflowers have died, beans have died, melons have died, and it's just going to be all hands on deck ripping out the summer garden because unfortunately there's a small window. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. There's a small window for a fall garden. It is not anything like the summer garden as regards to there's just a longer window, more flexibility. And so growing food this fall and winter is something that I can't not do. And so even though the house needs unpacking, even though the house is a little crazy right now, my shift is coming out here and cleaning out some of the beds. These beds on this side, so there's the 3 long beds. My friend Sean is actually going to be planting flowers that are going to overwinter and bloom earlier in the spring. So I'm not having to worry about planting any of those right now. That's just something he's going to do. I'm worried about cleaning off trellises because I really want to try and plant some more green beans. Jessica did start me some beans, but some of the things I'm not sure what they are. So I'm trying to go through, and that you can tell they kind of look dead, so obviously I think I'm good to pull that out. A lot of these flowers are starting to die off. I am going to be saving the seeds from some of those. I'm going to ask her if she wants me to save some of the seeds for her. But other than that, a big shift of what today is going to be, and all weekend. My dad's going to come over and help me. We're just going to start cleaning out the gardens. And that makes me really excited. I know it's sad. It's sad because Jessica, I'm ripping out her last garden, right? And for me, that has a lot of emotion. Jessica's one of my dear friends. And it's like passing the torch on, right? Like now she's done this thing. She did it well. She ended it with a bang. Now I get to come in and kind of wipe it out and start clean. She has a lot of herbs, like very, very established herbs in the garden that I want. You know, she's got basil, she's got thyme, she's got oregano, she's got fennel. She has got all these huge established herbs that come back year after year. I'm not touching those. Matter of fact, I'm by one right now. You guys see that huge bush full of bees? So I will be keeping everything like that in the beds. One, because I think it's sweet. Every time I see them blooming, I'm gonna immediately think of her. But two, these are like just huge established plants that she's had in her garden for years. It'd be silly for me to rip those up. I'm just going through and ripping up the things she planted for the fall or for the summer that are dying, and trying to get a game plan. I am going to be planting brassicas out here. It's a huge shift of what I'm going to be moving into. So we're going to be doing cabbages, we're going to be doing collards and lettuce and spinach, we're going to be doing broccoli and cauliflower and kohlrabi, and some of these things I'm going to have to direct sow. And so kohlrabi, I didn't get started in time. You can't buy that anywhere local to me as far as starts, and so I will have to direct sow those and hope that I'm not too late. If you want to know when your window is for fall planting, you honestly just need to do a Google search of when your estimated frost is, and that's kind of how, you know, I determine that. Farmer's Almanac is a really good resource for telling you. You'll type in your zip code and it tells you your zone, and it actually has really detailed charts as far as what to plant, when you're in your window. So I actually really like looking at the Farmer's Almanac as well. I haven't even made it into the cottage garden because it's kind of wild like it is most August. So I am trying to make my way in here. I do have a plan. I do have a plan for this, and right now the plan is to buy a silage tarp and just tarp off this half that she didn't really have anything planted in, and try to just do weed management right now. And so that's kind of going to be my plan for this. We are trying to see if we can't get wood chips dropped just to help with like the grass and things. I feel good having a plan and a vision for what I want to do in the gardens. I also feel even better to have Jessica's full support. You know, she has just been texting me so much over the last few days and pouring into me and just encouraging me to live out what I see this farm looking like, and that may look different than how she saw this farm looking. And no, we're not doing any drastic changes or anything like that, but it will be different, right? I'm gonna plant different things. Y'all are gonna be so used to seeing something done one way, and then I'm gonna do it a different way, either if that's just about what I'm planting or my practices or whatever it may be, right? Like we're two different people, and just having her full support of like, hey, you go wild, you do whatever you wanna do, and like, I support you, I can't wait to see what you do, made me feel so good, right? It gave me the liberty and the freedom to come in here and just like live out the fulfillment of my dreams, live out what I want this garden to look like. And it is going to look very similar, but there are going to be some differences, and I'm excited. I'm ready to get my hands dirty. I'm so ready to be in the stinking garden again. I can't even tell you. So let's get busy ripping out the summer garden. Just like that, I've got my first trellis cleaned off in the new garden. Look what I found. This little Kajari melon. It's not ripe. When Kajari melons turn ripe, they turn like this orange color. But I am going to take it inside and cut it open and try it. I actually went next door to Noah's house, and they have this huge pear tree, and Nathan and I were just ripping off pears and eating them, and they tasted so good. So I'm probably gonna go over there and tonight make some baked, my friend Melanie made these baked pear for my birthday, and inside it had homemade granola and cinnamon and all these spices, and then she made homemade whipped cream, and oh my gosh, it tasted so good. So I think I'm gonna try to grab some of those pears and do that. I have a lot of stuff to do in here, but this is normal for the August garden. August gardens are wild. August gardens need to be ripped out every single year. And so this is very much so what my old farm looked like. This is very much so what I had to go through and do. Things were dying, things needed to be ripped out. It was kind of a lot of elbow grease and a lot of work, but you just kind of got to grind and do it. And so this is typical of what a garden should look like. So don't be discouraged if you are out in your garden and you're like, oh man, my stuff is dying. Or, that leaves in my hair. Or if you're out in your garden and you're just like, oh my gosh, my garden doesn't look like this, or my garden doesn't look like that. Y'all, there may be some things still growing, and there may be beautiful flowers I can take photos of and show you guys. But overall, the August garden, it's tired, right? It's put in all this work since April or May, depending on when your frost date is. Ours was, I think we were clear of frost like April, middle of April, which is when Jessica planted this entire garden. So it has had such a good run. It's had such a good run. It's produced so much food. There's still so much I'm going to be able to do. The high tunnel's loaded full of food. I'm actually going to be harvesting a bunch of that and donating to a local restaurant this weekend, which you guys know has also been a huge passion of mine. I well up with joy. Ben Turn's coming this weekend to weed eat the garden and help clean it out. And so I'm feeling really encouraged as I start cleaning off trellises, as Ben Turn starts helping me clean off trellises. I'm just envisioning what the fall garden's gonna look like. It has me excited. I encourage you guys so much, grow food. And it's not always for the purpose of reaping a harvest. It is a plus. It's a huge perk as to why I grow food. Sustainability, right? I like to feed my family. I want to lower my grocery bill. Like, there's obviously all these reasons that I grow a garden. But for me, I don't know if you guys have been able to tell, but I've been just a little down in my spirits. And I was talking to Nathan about it, and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, I miss the garden. I would wake up at 5 o'clock every morning during the summer. I'd go have my cup of coffee, I'd turn on my worship music, I'd do a devotional in the garden, and then I would just go to work. Whether that was weeding, whether that was planting, whether that was harvesting. And I spent hours and hours with my hands in the soil, feeling purposeful about what I was doing. And I didn't have that all summer because we were in a summer of transition, and that's okay. Like, God, that's so okay. But I miss this so much that as soon as I walked through that hot pink garden gate, I had so many emotions well up. I felt so good. I didn't think about the summer garden I had to tear out. I thought about all the promises of the fall and the winter, and it got me excited. And so I want every single one of you guys to experience what I'm experiencing right now. It may not be on this scale. You may have a couple containers. You may have a Greenstalk Planter. You may have 2 raised beds like Jessica. Jessica had like 2 small 4x8 raised beds or something like that. That may be what it is for you. And that's okay, because there's still purpose in that. And it's still going to get you giddy, and you're still going to be excited. And those are all the several reasons why I grow food. It makes me feel good. It gives me purpose. I hear from God in the garden. He shows me His promises in the garden. I get to grow food for my family. I get to bless other people in our community. I get to extend this garden to my friends Sean and Melanie and let them use it for their family. That makes me feel good. And I want you to feel this way too. So start cleaning out your summer gardens if they're dead, depending on your zone. Start ripping that stuff up, putting some soil amendments down, or maybe just even some feather meal, some bone meal, blood meal, just maybe even that just looks like a layer of compost or mulch. Go down to your local nursery, buy some fall starts, support your local community, throw them in the ground, and grow some food this fall and winter. I promise you, you will never regret the decision to start a garden. You may quit the garden several times. However, I find that I quit the garden more in the summer than I do in the fall and the winter. I love growing food in the fall and the winter. It's my absolute favorite time. And I think that's why I'm so excited too, is we're going into my favorite season on the farm, which is weird because flowers aren't blooming, like it's cold. I know it's so strange, but I have come to love the fall and the winter so much because it's not hot. It's not hot. It's different types of food you can grow. I don't know. I just love it. And so I want you guys to experience that as well. I hope that you are ripping out your summer gardens and preparing to plant for your fall garden. You know, it's so funny as I'm like walking through the garden and I'm envisioning what I'm going to do for fall. I miss Jessica so much, right? Like, it's just different. Like, things are just different without her here. But when I walk through this garden, I feel her presence so much in this garden, and I know I'm always gonna have that feeling because I know that she started this and she stewarded this so well that she gave me the privilege to come and steward it behind her and do it differently and have my own take on it. But I'm like sitting here watching the sunrise, enjoying my cup of coffee, and I just can look everywhere around this garden and see Jessica and feel Jessica. And although I miss her, I know this is going to remind me of her daily, and that is such a sweet feeling. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I'll talk to you soon.